I've just spent a little while remaking the dashboard. Can you tell? Well, there's no instruments in it, obviously, but can you tell? Anyway, ignoring that fact for a moment. Well, the changes are, you might say, subtle, but basically I've moved the speedo and rev counter upwards slightly, and these three warning lights, well, the bottom one previously was behind the column shroud. That's the main reason that I've done this change, actually, is to make sure you can actually see all the warning lights. So they're a little bit more squished together, but otherwise they're the same as they were before, and they're pretty good, I think. There is a kind of tendency for the steering wheel to be slightly over to the left, and there's reasons for that to do with the chassis, so, and also wanting to have a bit of space next to my hand. So that's a design choice, so that's not a mistake, that's just how it is. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the layout, and I'm pretty pleased also with the improvements that I've made. Obviously I can see all the switches and warning lights now, and it all fits with everything that's behind the dash as well, so that's good. I've also, as you'll see, I've got a bracket for my mobile phone. It's actually a wireless charger as well as a bracket, and up here is a Android touchscreen thing which connects up to it as well. So it makes, I think, better use of the real estate than the original Gilbern did. A lot of the switches, there was a lot of switches, ashtrays as well, that were originally there. I don't want ashtrays, and I've got control knobs that do interesting things, some of which you've seen. Headlights, I think I've demoed in the past, and there's a similar thing for the heater fan, and there'll be another similar thing for up and down vent controls, so something may end up here yet to be established. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it, and I have made improvements as to how these instruments are fitted in as well, because there is a slight recess. Anyway, I also obviously need to put the instruments in, and I need to wire them up, and eventually there will be some kind of nice veneer on here, but we'll have to wait for that. And here is my previous version of the dash, which is basically very similar. The speedo and rev counter are slightly lower down, and especially this warning light is much lower down, much too low down actually, so they've all moved up slightly. And well, that's kind of it really. And just for further reference, I'll leave that there actually. And for further reference, here is an original Gilbern dash. So you'll see there's a lot of similarity and some differences. So here's a big space. I think there was switches and things, and maybe heater controls on a metal panel behind here. So that's what that's about. Ashtrays. There was 2 ashtrays, I believe. Don't want those. But otherwise it's pretty similar, and as you'll see, it has actually got a veneer walnut or something, which of course is flaking off, but the same principle can be deployed on the new one. Other differences are to do with the actual size and shape, where because I've made some changes in the tunnel area. How can I demonstrate this? Yeah, the bottom is narrower, and it's also taller. That's probably a fair representation of what has changed. See, the new dash is taller and narrower than an original one was, as well as not having all these extra holes in it, of course. Now, perhaps you would have liked to see me make those various holes in the dash. It was quite hard to do, and of course there was always a element of risk that it might all go wrong, and so for that reason I decided that taking video of me doing it in action was actually more likely to cause a problem, so I didn't do that. But what I can do is show how I made my holes. And how I made my holes was with this tool here. This was on eBay, of course. I can't remember, they called it a hole cutter. It's got two slide out blades, and obviously you cut them out to the same size. There's a scale along here, and the way I approached it was to, using this one as an example, I took the size of the large diameter, which is the chrome ring, which is 57, and if anything it undercuts rather than overcuts. I did do a number of test pieces, so I'm going out to probably more like 58 in reality. You won't be able to see this, I'm sure. It's quite fiddly to get it exactly the right position. Right, 58. And I do recommend trying, having set the thing, try it out on a test piece. Definitely do that. So there we are. That's my 58 probably, but that's okay, because the fractions of a millimetre aren't that important. And also, as I've mentioned, if you've done it by trial and error with a test piece, you'll get it right, if you like, almost by definition. So here we go, and I obviously I've used a pillar drill here, which I need to raise up. Because otherwise it will be moving. If you tried doing this with a hand drill, it would definitely be moving around. So here we go. So this is my large diameter, which matches the chrome ring, I hope. Let's see if it works. And as you saw, this thing is supposed to be a safety shield. Actually caused the problem rather than solving a problem. This, I will re-emphasise, is a big whirly thing, and it could get you into serious trouble. So, back to where I was. There is a scale up here, and I've gone into the wood. I shall do that again. I'll raise it up a little bit as well. I'll go into the wood, and just at the point it touches the cutting blades, which of course is these things, just at the point that they make contact with the wood, I go down a further 4 millimeters. That's the way I'm judging it. So we're not touching yet, still aren't. I'm just about to make contact, I think. Alright, so that's the outer cut. And I'm now going to move these cutting blades inwards. This is a 52 millimeter gauge, so I'm going to go with something like 53. This is not a terribly precise scale. You probably can't see it at all. I will just draw your attention to the numbers, or it's in steps of 20 actually on the big numbers, and small numbers are in steps of, I don't know what they are, 25 I suppose. So anyway, we're going to go with 53. Okay. The disc suddenly started spinning as it detaches from the rest of the board. So we now have our stepped hole with a funny shaped piece of wood. Now of course the step itself tends to have this sort of extra bits which you have to pick off. You can do that with with fingernails, but just from a rough, it can be finessed a little bit. So we have a stepped hole, and that means the gauge, there it is, drops into that hole quite nicely, so it doesn't stick up. The height of the chrome ring above the surface of the wood is a little bit less than it would otherwise be. So it's been recessed by 4mm, and maybe a little bit more once or it may be more than I've actually shown there, because I haven't yet gone round it with a small file and chisel, what have you. But yeah, anyway, I think that's pretty neat actually, and I've done this obviously for all the gauges on the new dashboard. So that's how we did it. I really am getting into fine details now. In due course I will have a glove box on my dashboard, and the glove box is obviously just to cut out a piece of wood from the actual dashboard, but I need hinges. Now of course all kinds of cabinet hinges can be used, but I was having trouble finding ones that I liked, so I've made my own. I've only made one so far though. Now this, does it look a bit Heath Robinson, or maybe it looks a little bit rustic? But I'm quite pleased with it. It has so obviously this part goes inside the dashboard down here. This part goes to the glove box lid and it hinges outwards. And the beauty of this style with a kind of C shape is that the little hole required in the glove box itself, because the arch kind of orbits around the centre, it has a fairly small hole required to do that. Anyway, it's kind of a little bit, I don't know, Art Deco. Do I mean Art Deco? Steampunk. That's the word I was looking for. Anyway, I've made one, so I'm going to make another one. And yeah, this will be a time lapse. If for no other reason, I've got the radio on and I want to listen to it. So let's go. And finally, 2 matching steampunk hinges. Now these won't be anywhere apart from inside the glove box, so don't worry, there's nothing like this in the rest of the car, but it's quite neat. I might even clear coat these actually to keep the shiny but stop them from going rusty. So yeah. So how's this going to work again? Remind me. Oh yes, this is on the inside of the dash. This is the dash lid, and it hinges downwards like that. This is the back of my dashboard, and this is where the glove box. And this is where the glove box fits. But I don't want to have hinges that are visible at the front, and this happens very often on this style of dashboard. So I'm doing some sculpting on the back of the glove box, and I'm going to do a recessed hinge. This is the back, so I'm going to recess that in, and hopefully all the parts will fit. So the position of the hinge axis is down and forward compared to how it was originally when I surface mounted, and the hinge axis was kind of here, but now it's down and in compared to that, which gives the required clearance, although as you can see I have actually clearanced the edge of the door. This is the back, of course, we're looking at. So it is a bit tight, but at least I don't have visible hinges. And here it is. Now there's also a little bit of fettling. It's completely bare wood, but we already know that the shape fits in the car. In fact, this piece of wood has actually been in the car, but this is how it will look, largely unchanged, but with a glove box. And there may have to be some sort of strap to stop it. Although it doesn't seem to be falling down. That's probably just luck at the moment. Anyway, this is it on the dashboard sub-project for the moment. The next part will be trying to get a finish on it, and I'm kind of moving away slightly from burr walnut or some sort of veneer stuff on this, simply because I'm finding it more difficult to get any. So it may turn out that a varnished version of this is what you end up with. We'll have to see about that. Here's the dashboard in the car, and here's my glove box. Look at that. Now, I did mention that the heater was kind of in the way. It is, so that's why it has to be offset to the left. I can put some extra controls or something that I don't need very often in there, possibly. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. Needs a sort of magnet catch or something in there. And my knee roll thing, which goes on in the manner of the original Gilban. Oh no! Can you see the problem? I'm not going to say anything. Okay then, so back to where we were a minute ago, and actually I haven't put the glove box inside yet, but there it is. Pretty neat. And do you know what I had to do? to make that happen. Have you noticed the wood is a bit cleaner? Yes, I did. If you got as far as this, thanks very much for watching. And in case you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. That would be really encouraging for me. So catch you on the next one. Okay, that was going to be it, but another weekend's effort. This is now, I'll say weekend, this is now Tuesday night, and we have this. Now, I'm not going to say it's perfect or finished, certainly not wired up, but that is really starting to look like it's coming together, isn't it?